For all of our folks who are here in Hendersonville, Tennessee, Ricky and Sharon's home is not far from our studio here in Hendersonville, just outside of Nashville. Now, earlier today, Ricky took me to one of his favorite hometown cafes where the owner is living his own American dream. I want you to see this. Ricky, I understand this is one of your favorite places around Hendersonville.
Yes, it is.
I mean, they got stuff about you on the wall, man.
Well, they need to update their wall stuff, I think, a little bit. But
What's so special about Cafe Rakka?
Chef Rakka and Miss Linda, that's what's special here. These are they're just so great. If everybody was as giving and as sweet as they were, this whole world would be so much better. Look at there.
Oh, boy, now we're talking.
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
And you can feel free to bring some for Ricky, too, if you want to.
The food is just absolutely the greatest.
Like, this is like
Yeah,
really...
you can see he put the meat over here.
Well,
so
we're going to change that here.
stuff.
Let's do... No, I'm going to be a big boy today and share this stuff. Thank you, Chef.
No, thank you, Chef.
This is authentic hummus.
It absolutely is. It is nothing out of a can, okay? A bunch of these recipes are 1,000 years old, you know. That's come down through his family, through generations and generations and generations in Rakka City, where he was from.
You live in this area, so when did you first show up at Cafe Rakka? How did you ever find this place? Because it's just in this little nondescript spot, but it's packed every time you come in.
It is. I've got a studio just about, gosh, less than a half mile from here. And my son, Luke, was working there in the studio, him and some of his buddies, and they came in just famished from working all day in the studio, and Chef had, the light was still on. The door was locked, but the light was still on. And so they just pulled in, and Luke came in and kind of pulled the door and found out it was locked, and looked at Chef and went, and he went and unlocked the door and said, "Come on in."
I think the friendship that you and the chef have developed is remarkable, because that was the first thing he wanted to tell me about. He said, "You know who comes to my restaurant a lot?" I said, "Who?" He says, "Ricky Skaggs."
Hey, Chef, are you busy? Oh, come in.
Come on and join us.
This stuff is so great, you know, and I've told the story about how sweet you was to Luke, my son.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And
But he came, it's like young people, young kids who came in and said, "Would you feed us?" that was the sweetest, request ever. Like, "Would you please feed us?" I said, "We will. Sit down." I met Mr. Skaggs about a week later. He came and thanked me. That was it.
What has being in America meant to you? How has it impacted your life? And
Yeah, well, talking about, you hear a lot about it, talk about American dream, especially with immigrant. So my third year in law school, my graduation year, I have to write a thesis about international study. And I did the Treaty of Versailles, and I did the international conflict. There's one more book called American Government. Now, you need to know, this is in the 80s. Syria was and still under communist socialist restriction. We allied with the Soviet Union then, and now with Russia. And I read it, and I fell in love immediately with the system. Most important part of that system, the checks and balances, because because you live in the single leader mentality. You never fathom a people can question their leader. And it's right there, a corner of a system called checks and balances. I looked at it and I said, that's what I want to be.
it takes a Syrian immigrant to make Americans appreciate what we have.
Amen.
It's such a blessing to hear someone whose perspective is totally unique, but to be able to look at our system of government with all of its faults and be able to embrace it and say, you know, it's a lot to love. Well, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
well, Chef,
it is.
I know that Linda needs you in the kitchen, and you know, the reason I'm throwing you out is because Ricky and I want to finish off these lamb chops, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure.
It is a privilege and honor to be here. Food is phenomenal.
All right.
Absolutely great. We're going to get right back to it. Well, there's a great, great restaurant. It's called the Colorado Grill Steakhouse, and they are known for their delicious slow-roasted prime rib. Now, I love prime rib, and so does my old friend Moe Bandy. So the Colorado Grill Steakhouse was the perfect place for Moe and me to have a little lunch together and talk about his life and his great career in country music. So I'm going to take you there now. Check it out with Moe Bandy. Moe, we're going to talk about the great music career you've had, and you've had an amazing career. But I got to start talking about bull riding, something you did before you got into music. What on earth were you thinking?
I wonder that sometimes. I started riding when I was 8 years old. Probably.
You got on a bull at 8?
I got on the small ones at that time.
There's no small bull, Moe.
Yeah, I know. But I rode for a while and rode around Texas and everything.
So the song that you ended up doing, Bandy the Rodeo Clown, one of your big hits, and a great song. It's a great visual. I guess that came out of the whole experience of your family and you riding bulls and everything else.
I was, Whitey Schaefer wrote a lot of my songs, great songwriter. And I was telling Whitey one day, I said, you know, my brother's having a great year. I need a rodeo song. To this day, when I do shows, they start hollering that right off Bandy the Rodeo Clown. But I told my dad, I said, I recorded a song, it's got our name in it, Bandy. He said, well, that's going to be a hit, son.
And he was right. Do you sometimes worry that country music is becoming something other than country music?
You know, one thing about the music today, it's perfect. And I think when you do that, you lose your heart.
Yeah.
But these folks are doing these songs and filling stadiums and all this stuff. I don't know. They got something going for them, and it's good for them. I'm proud.
Well, I love the way guys like you did it, still doing it, and I hope it's a long time to come. I can't talk with you without talking about your autobiography, Lucky Me.
You know, I think everybody should write a book.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a book, but a journal or something.
Yeah.
Because I want my great-great-grandkids to know what I was thinking about, what I did. And I think everybody should do that.
Well, I'm glad you have done that. You've done us all a favor. You've done me a great favor just by showing up here at the Colorado Grill in White House, Tennessee.
I'm telling you, this is a place.
I think they're going to bring some food out here for us. We get to eat instead of just talk. How's that? Oh, he has entertained audiences for well over half a century, and he is still at it today. His name is Leroy Van Dyke, and he's one of the most accomplished musicians of all time. Recently, I had the chance to sit down with Leroy, eat some amazing food, no squirrels there, and to talk about his amazing career. Here is my Diner Dive with Leroy Van Dyke. Well, we are at Courtney's restaurant in beautiful Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and I have the privilege of being with one of the great legends of country music, Leroy Van Dyke. Leroy, what an honor to be with you. Thank you for joining me here at Courtney's.
This is a pleasure.
Well, I have been listening to your music forever. It's hard for me to believe that The Auctioneer, kind of your signature song, came out in 1956.
Yes.
Leroy, I was a year old then. And I thought I was an old guy, but that song's been around a while.
It's been I've been in business, I'm into my 63rd year.
Wow. Not many people have been able to sustain a career like you have. What's the secret?
Don't die.
Well, so far, still got a pulse. I guess I'm doing all right.
I never took a drink in my life.
Is that right?
Never smoked, never took any drugs, and I'm not starting today.
I want to go back to the song The Auctioneer, because I mean, it is one of the icons, not just of your career, but really in country music. You wrote that song?
I wrote it while I was in Korea. I was running up and down those dusty roads in the Jeep, and this song started coming to me out of the air. I don't know where it came from. And I ignored it. And that's happened about 4 times. And finally I said, somebody's trying to tell me something. This song is coming out of the air to me. So I went back to my tent and started writing this song. It's a true story of a man named Ray Sims, who was a second cousin of mine, the world's best livestock auctioneer. But the song is a true story, except for one word, where it says there was a boy in Arkansas. Nothing rhymes with Missouri.
Yeah.
So I went to your home state.
I was going to say, well, those of us in Arkansas were always really proud that you, dipped south enough just to name the auctioneer from there. I just want to tell you how much I feel honored and blessed and thrilled to have the privilege of getting to meet you and be with you here at Courtney's restaurant.
We love your daughter,
Thank you.
and I think you're a very smart man because I agree with everything you say.
And I want to affirm how smart you really are, Leroy, because if you agree with me, you are one smart son of a gun, that is for sure.
Yeah.